Party on, dudes!
Hello there.
Hello there.
Late in the week, our sort of bi-weekly show now. Not a whole lot of news coming out every single week, so we figured once we've got a whole lump sum, we'll give it to you in batch form. Quite a bit dropped this week, though. But before we get to that, Streamlabs. We got a Streamlab donation while we were away.
It was from Dennis. He donated $10, and he said, "Love your videos on YouTube, and I'll help as much as I can to help your channel grow." So thank you so very much, Dennis, for the $10. We do appreciate it. Yes, and that money will go back into the channel to grow.
So you can do the donations on Streamlabs, or you can do the super chats to guarantee that we'll be able to see it. Matt G, once again, Will Keaton's Batman mentioned the Schumacher films. Man, you know, there's a place for it, and we will definitely get into that once we get into the topics. But yeah, some things that are not on the docket in terms of topics that we're going to discuss. Disneyland is postponing their opening. Tenet has been moved once again. Bill and Ted's has been moved once again. So
Mulan has been moved to my birthday time.
That's not too far away.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a live stream for your birthday. A birthday celebration, bitches.
As a celebration.
But yeah, I mean, Splash Mountain, actually, that Disney coming out and saying that they are going to give us a retheming of Splash Mountain into Princess of the Frog.
Yes, and I'm super excited. One, because it's not retreading the story that we already know from the movie.
Sure.
It's a continuation of the story, so I'm really looking forward to see what they can do with that. Because, I mean, I liked Splash Mountain, but Splash Mountain really, and I get it, those who loved Splash Mountain are like, I don't want it to change, but it's, you know, it's time for a change.
It is time for a change. If you guys want to listen to our whole breakdown of Splash Mountain, we actually talked about it on episode 3 of Late in the Week, so you could go back to that. We just dished about it before it became a reality, so now it is actually happening. Tenet, I'm sure Christopher Nolan is pissed because his movie's getting pushed back, but also the money that they spend on marketing ahead of time to kind of say, here we go, we're ramping up. Yes. And then, you know, the viruses are crazy. It's just rising. In Arizona, where we are right now, it was like, before, I was like, yeah, I'll wear a mask at the theater, sure, why not? And then right now, it's just running rampant, so I'm like, well, shit, thank you for pushing it back.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in any, position to go out. Like, we can't film when we're there. We will not film when we're there, so we'll do reviews back at home. But yeah, try and talk as very little as you can while you're there. So the chances are too high, especially right now still. So I'm glad they are pushing everything back, as well as Mulan.
Right.
But as long as they can,
I'm fine. I'm fine with them pushing it because, eventually we'll get to it.
Sure. Yeah. So, before, that was just like the little quick pickups.
But, yes, before that, real quick, someone just asked, Clips Movie asked, are you going to react to Falcon and the Winter Soldier? The answer is yes. We are going to be reacting to all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows as well. So, WandaVision and Loki will be on the docket too.
And eventually Obi-Wan when that comes out. So that's the thing, guys, a little bit of insight into how those reactions work when it comes to TV shows. Certain companies are cool with it. Certain companies will take all the money for it. BBC's starting to get hip to that. BBC's like, you guys doing reactions to Doctor Who? Give us all your money. And we're like, all right, it's your show. But when it comes to Disney is very open, and they very seldomly will block your material. And if they do block it, it's because you showed a little too much, so you can go in and cut it up. But when it comes to now the Fox acquisition under Disney, like, they're treating Fox the way that Disney treats Disney, so that's why we got the What We Do in the Shadows reactions. So yeah, when it comes to Disney Plus, all shows are fair game, because so far Disney has been supportive in not taking it away and taking your money.
They were a little wary at the beginning with Mandalorian, but
they didn't know yet.
They haven't done anything yet with the reactions that we have there. So
So yes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier for sure will be reactions on our channel, as well as Loki, as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Kenobi, whenever that comes out.
I'm excited for WandaVision.
Oh,
what
absolutely.
If, you know,
got Kat Dennings coming back in. What did she call me on there? Always something different. But let's get into topic number 1 that we missed while we were away waiting for news to pop up. Star Wars Celebration is going to be canceled for 2020, and it makes complete sense. Absolutely makes sense that they would cancel Star Wars Celebration. We just talked about it when it comes to the movies. It was right for them to do it. Now, granted, it's not so much as them canceling that, you know, I had really any emotion about. I was like, oh yeah, you should cancel it. It was the fact that they said it's not coming back until 2022, where I'm like, I see what you're doing there. A little leapfrog with your conventions.
I get it though, because next year you have Disney D23. I forgot it for a second.
She went into like a PTSD mode when it comes to what we went through in those long hours overnight in the freezing hall D23.
Yeah, so it makes sense for them to move Star Wars Celebration to 2022 for Anaheim, because they do both use the Anaheim Convention Center. So it makes sense.
Except Star Wars does tend to veer off and go other places, other countries. True, sometimes.
But because it was supposed to be in Anaheim this year, that would suck if they were like, oh, we're going to be going to Star Wars Celebration next year, but be somewhere else. And I'd be like, well, okay, then what about, Anaheim? So that I feel like that was where their mindset was going.
Sure.
That they pushed it to 2022 because of D23.
And we're kind of in a lull right now, The only thing that I'm really excited about is, The Mandalorian Season 2 and getting some sort of first look at that. But at the same time, we're at the moment where, hey, you guys are taking a little bit of time off from the cinematic universe, as they have stated. So here's their time to build, create, and help come up with something for the future. At this time, maybe plan a little bit better to get your stories continuous from one to the next, very similar to what Marvel does.
Right.
So they could take the time off and go ahead and regroup and engage those Star Destroyers at point blank range. At that close range, well, less longer against those Star Destroyers. Less longer than we will against that Death Star. We might just take a few of them with us. We were going to go to Celebration this year, and I'm okay with it, because at this point, I was kind of in the mindset where it's like, well, there's really not a whole lot going on. Do I really want to put myself through that? One, it's a lot of money. Two, it's a lot of energy, because we're working when we do that. And it's like, if it gets pushed off, I'm basically procrastinating my work off a little later. It's like, I still got to do the work. It's still going to happen, but I like pushing it off as far as I can, because lazy. But when it comes down to it, we were going to go.
Comic-Con at home, too, and I feel like we'll probably get a bunch of stuff from there.
Yeah, we'll still be working.
So we'll be working on that, too.
But it's about the environment. It's about the convention itself. It's about all the people coming together, and that's what I want to experience and be a part of. But I'm also okay with being able to do that once we're a little bit farther from this pandemic.
Right.
So pushing it out to 2022, you've got D23 next year, and it's perfect because it works so well for D23 to help build up hype and then do their convention every other year. It doesn't feel, as a consumer, as somebody who visits D23, like, oh, it's already here 1 year later, where it's like, oh, you got to psych yourself up for it. It's a lot of work. Psych yourself up for these conventions, especially when we go balls to the wall. Like, we are for it. We are in the lines asleep with everybody else overnight. Like, it is rough. It's exhausting. It's a lot of work. But damn it, it's worth it. And that's what I love about them pushing it back, is it's like, I can regroup and get my energy to face it when I'm not so worried about the mask and everybody else around me and making sure I'm not touching this and touching this. It's still going to happen then in 2022, but more than likely we'll have the vaccine. We won't have to all wear the masks. But so Star Wars Celebration getting closed down, and it makes absolute sense.
Absolutely.
So going into the comments section, I'll let Vanessa read those if I let her. So let's go back up to the top.
I mean, there's just a bunch of things.
Well, it's because I got the mouse, because I don't want you hearing the clicking all over the thing. So we're still finding our groove.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are just asking different questions. So we have Brian saying Mike Henry, who voices Cleveland, is stepping down. Yeah, I mean, we get it.
It makes sense because they technically they got away with it for a very long period of time. There was no real backlash when it came to those kinds of castings for a while. But guess what?
Voiceovers. But I get it. I feel like it gives the opportunity for the black community who are voiceover actors, allowing them to come in and to get more opportunities to do that.
And honestly, when it comes down, a lot of people are upset because everything's kind of being washed away all at once. In terms of, you get a lot of episodes that are getting pulled offline from different companies. Always Sunny, they pulled the Community episode of Dungeons and Dragons, which is the best episode of Community next to Paintball.
Yeah, it's a really good episode, but I get it. We get it.
I sort of get that one. And that one, Chang is not going for blackface. He's playing a character, an elf, and yet it is, and they make a joke about it, saying, "Are we just going to ignore this hate crime?" And I get it. You pulled it. The Office, they ended up pulling the Bear-Schnickel
that
scene.
One I really do get.
100%, I agree with that one.
I remember when first
it's
watching
cringe
that,
every time it comes on. I'm like,
why
Mark Frost, what
that?
are you doing, man?
Not have done that.
Colin Robinson, take that off. Get out of here.
Yeah.
But no, when it comes down to the voice actors, like I get it. There's people saying that, well, you can be anybody when you're an actor. But guess what? Like, there is misrepresentation when it comes to the black community getting those jobs. So it kind of makes sense that you're going to give it to the black community to play those roles. Why not? They deserve that.
Right.
So let's make the change, and everyone's doing it right now because they finally realize, hey, we got to make that change.
Yeah.
So guess what? Everybody that's seeing it change. John Roca brought up a really good point. He's like, what the hell is wrong with all of y'all that you thought it was all okay across the board to do it? So like now you're getting them all swept away because guess what? You didn't learn and you didn't know then. You're learning now. Kristen Bell pulling herself from her character that's coming out. What is it? Central Park on Fox.
Jenny Slate, who's leaving.
Right. It
Big Mouth.
You know what? The change is happening, and guess what? It was a reaction to an action, and therefore the reaction is going to be bigger and overwhelming. And you thought that you were mad with them taking 1 or 2 or 3 and changing them. Guess what? Like, you held it out as long as you could.
Good.
It's like with the jokes, where you say a whole bunch of jokes and hold the cord and then let it go. Mitch Hedberg. It's Mitch Hedberg. You got to go find his joke because I got to tell you a whole bunch of jokes and pinch the cord, and then when I let it go, you're going to get all the jokes at once. They pinched the cord when it came to the change. Now, guess what? Boom! All the change is coming. It's taking them across the board. That was a comment that got us on that tangent. React, we saw that one. Mike Henry,
Hello everyone.
Hello, Rugged English, Mr. Fruit. Hi, are you reacting to Cobra Kai Season 3, Mr. Fruit? 100%. I can't wait for it, especially because it's on Netflix. Another company that does very well when it comes to people's reactions. Great hair, Vanessa, by Rugged English. I can't wait for The Mandalorian Season 2, and WandaVision looks interesting. Ryan Flake, hi. Brian, next up for Cancel Convention is probably New York Comic Con. Yeah, it makes absolute sense. From what I heard, it gets incredibly congested over there now in terms of the convention. I can't wait to see what they do with Deadpool and X-Men, 100%. You're going to bring in that Fox, and if you guys plan it out accordingly, at least you get clever with your incorporation and not just retread. Or, like, what was that with Fantastic Four ending up on Disney Plus? That's kind of weird, isn't it? It was, like, just kind of popped up as, like, a main movie. It's like, Fantastic Four, check it out. It's like Disney Plus.
And 4 stick.
No, thanks. Like, I'll pass on that. I can't wait to see what they do with that. Well, we
read that already.
Remix. Only Star Wars film news is probably about the Taika Waititi film, 100%, and I'm excited for that. Quake show would be cool, but just wonder how they would do it and who would be the villain. Like Quake, like the video game?
No, like Daisy.
Quake! Okay, yeah,
from,
okay. Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Totally worth it, but yeah, good to wait. But imagine if there was a Quake show. Get some... no, because what they've done with Doom is terrible already in terms of movies. Hydra, would you have to be in the Quake show for sure? Yeah, that's true. Wow, you look beautiful, Vanessa. W Bone V. Look at her. She gets all embarrassed every single time. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but had to stop. Hello. Yeah, I had to stop too. Because they didn't acknowledge the snap. Yeah, man, it's that dissociation between series and film. And it's unfortunate when that happens.
it started to go that way a little bit because we actually stopped watching it after the reveal of Hydra's, takeover of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
That's when we stopped watching the show.
They killed Edward James Olmos. Spoiler, he's there for 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah, no, that pissed me off because they were putting Edward James Olmos into the series. I'm like, yes, like this is awesome. Bring him in. They got rid of
Bill Paxton. I mean, granted, it sucks now, but like
it's worse, because he's unfortunately passed. And if they try and do a Twister reboot, heard something about that too. I'd be okay with them continuing the story if Bill ended up getting killed by a tornado, unfortunately. Like, that's how I'd have to see it. And then,
I'd cry my balls out.
I cried my balls out. There she goes.
I just did a Michael Scott because it was, well, how the turntables. But, I bawled my eyes out. That's what I meant to say, but I cried. I'm going to start out. I cried my balls out.
Julian, we always love your art on Twitter, if that's you. Hello, I can write in French. Oops, I'm in France. Well, that's a good place to write French. What's up? For reals, Vanessa, always be my lovely. Thank you, rugged English. I assume you're lovely sometimes. That's right.
Second best.
Second best. Best seat in the house. Second best. Daisy's character was great. She could have been Ahsoka level. Could have fought. Yeah, I agree. They could have done a lot more. Cried my balls out. New shirt design. Get Brian Ward on that. Or Garth, you can do it yourself, right? So yeah, that's moving on to the next topic on the agenda. Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai has found its home.
On Netflix. Yay!
It's exciting.
It's so easy.
It
deserves
candy.
it. I mean, granted, right now you can watch all season 1 and season 2 for free on YouTube.
I checked. It didn't look like it was still that way. I just checked.
It used to be.
Yeah, I just checked, and it doesn't look like it is free because it said premium.
Okay, well, let me just forget I ever
it
said
played
that.
the trailer. No, I mean, it was, but at some point, it looks like they stopped doing that, which I get. You're going to lose it. Let's make some money off it because there's a little bit of a ruckus about it. People are talking about it, so maybe they'll go and pay and watch it before it moves over to Netflix. Not the case. Everyone's going to wait till it goes to Netflix.
Yeah.
But along with them moving it over to Netflix, they're also going to bring in the first 3 Karate Kid movies, too, to kind of get you caught up to speed with basically where we are, what's going on.
Well,
because
that's good.
Cobra Kai is a direct sequel to what took place in those 3 films.
That's very true. I do like the Karate Kid. To be fair, I like the 4th Karate Kid movie as well. When I was younger, that was the first Karate Kid movie that I watched.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I watched that. Then I went back and watched the other ones. So, you always remember the first movie in a series that you watch, and it's so weird. When I was a little kid, I would always watch the sequels before the originals. Same thing happened with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I watched Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves first, and that was the one that I watched so many times. And then it wasn't until until like 2 or 3 years after I watched the Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves did I watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So it's interesting how I watch like the sequels first before, and that I fall in love with those ones.
And y'all ask us why we call ourselves late to the party, because that's how late to the party that we are. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of 4 just because it did feel completely different. Miyagi was there, but it felt like a TV movie, it didn't feel like a cinematic film.
It does feel like that a little bit.
But at the same time, there's room for it. Absolutely, I would welcome Hilary Swank. Is she hot? Not would I do her. Hilary Swank absolutely does have a place.
Or Hilary Swank is not hot, then you're saying that I'm not hot. Because I'm not as hot as Hilary Swank.
I'm definitely looking forward to season 3, and we just talked about the companies and how companies are okay with you doing reactions. YouTube was 100% completely okay with us doing reactions to Cobra Kai Season 2. Wish we would have done it for Season 1, but how are we to know? It would be so damn good. But when it came to Season 2, YouTube was cool with it. So the fact that it's moving over to Netflix makes me happy as just the editor and uploader that we can do it and not have to worry about trouble, because Netflix is fairly open to people and channels doing reactions.
Like that fair use of going
Right.
in. Free advertisement
Sure.
for the show, yo.
And everyone's going to get to watch it, instantly, because Netflix does what YouTube did, and that's upload them all right then and there without having to wait every single week. So when it comes to Netflix, I'm excited. You're going to open it up to that much larger fan base, an open fan base of people. There's so many people that I know of that have just not watched Cobra Kai, but they're like, yeah, I like Karate Kid. I just never, they didn't want to bother or deal with whatever it was going to take to sign on to YouTube Red. And I don't blame them, because that's just another way you're spending money, and it didn't feel like it was something that was worth it, and still doesn't. That's why they're totally pulling back on scripted.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. What, 2 years, 3 years? I'm just thinking in Cobra Kai terms. So it makes sense that they would kind of regroup and run away. I do see there's a bunch of, it looks like Patreon pledges. So we got Noah, AG the Man. It says $5. Justin Smith, $5. Kelly Kamara, $5. Paul Schmidt, $5.
Thank
Will
you.
Wheaton's Batman mentioned the Schumacher films. So that was the $2 that came from here.
Yeah,
it's starting to read from one to another. We're learning technology.
So we have Andrew Valdez that said, do you think that they should bring back Elizabeth Shue for season 3? I think that they should bring her back at some point, absolutely. I mean, they kind of already hinted a little bit towards it in season 2, so bringing her in would be kind of cool, to have her character come back.
Yeah.
So
there is a perfect position right now within the narrative to where that can absolutely happen. And if you haven't seen season 1 or 2, season 2 is so badass. The fight, this just comes down to the fights. The fight choreography, now granted, nowhere near as brutal as what you see with Daredevil, but it's on the level of tracking shots of Daredevil, of hand-to-hand combat between all these characters, and that's what's freaking awesome about the actual season 2, is that they really develop that, especially in the finale. And then there's a couple moments within the actual season that they do that. But Elizabeth Shue, 100% comeback. I know that they're going to utilize the whole thing in Japan with Daniel, so I'm wondering what we're going to get. Chosen coming back into play. But either way, it's in good hands with Netflix. You'll see our reactions to it, and now people can actually just watch the reaction as well as like the Patreon full episode watch along that we do with Netflix. So it's not harder. Like what we do in the shadows is tough because it's got commercials for some people on Hulu or little breaks, and it's not the same.
True.
But when you can sync it up with a Netflix show, so much easier for people to watch along with you when we do reactions
Same with
to
Disney
it.
Plus.
Same with Disney Plus. So that's something that we are amped about in terms of Cobra Kai. And the fact that I think they're throwing the 3 episodes or the 3 movies on Netflix, I think we're getting close. I think it's going to happen very soon, which means more work for us. I mean, we got to get to it. And it's a rush, too, because if they all drop, we're going to have to try and film them all in one go, like in a matter of a couple days, because spoilers end up coming out, and you could just sit there and produce them and release one a day like we did with Stranger Things. It wasn't easy, guys. Ooh. It's hard work.
Yeah.
Just the editing aspect and all that, it takes a while, but because you got to watch it all over again and cut and paste and all that.
Just
crap.
Thinking about it makes me so tired.
Eric from Nerd Chronic, he's like, you guys, come on. You see the magic I create in the Schmodown? Super editor.
When he talks about his work ethic and being like up all the time, and then when he worked overnight too, I was just like,
yeah,
it just made me so tired.
It's like I produce half this episode, and it's like I'm gonna go take a nap. So let's see more comments. Can't wait to see the new French comic book adaptation, Toto Jokes. Have no clue what that is. Send us stuff from it on Twitter, so that way we can take a look at it. Daisy's character was great. We did that one already. Cried my balls out, new shirt. Ghost Rider was one of the best parts of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I jumped out before we even got there. I thought he was good in Terminator, the newest one. What was it called? Terminator Rehash. Yes. I'm here. I made it, guys. Mike Good, thank you for making it. Karate Kid, saw them at the cinema. I was like 15, 16 years old. They're so good, man. I went back and watched the first one in the cinema when they brought it back. Hilary Swank, late in the week. # late in the week. And I just, what about Chosen? Yeah, well, hopefully she'll come back. Hi, guys. Love your channel. Thank you, Rick Sanchez. Rick, you were just over in the movie couple comment section. Do you think that they should bring back Elizabeth Shue for season 3?
Yeah,
She
we already
got that
talked
one.
about
Yeah,
that.
you're cool too, Robert. Thanks. Zang. What about Chosen? Said that one already. Could you watch and catch and watch a French movie actually on Netflix? Didier, by and with the great Alain Chabat. A Dog Become a Man. Great comedy. It sounds interesting. I'd say yes, but it's one of those things where you get on me and make me watch it. If it's that good, you're gonna get on me and make me watch it. Garth McMurray, I wanted to watch Cobra Kai, but didn't want to pay for them. There it is. There it is. That's what's going on. Matt G, was it true they acknowledged the 4th movie in Cobra Kai, The Female Apprentice? Did they? Was there a connection there? Because I don't remember
so.
there actually being a connection. There could be. We don't really know what's going on with Peyton List's character just yet. I saw both seasons and they're great. Rick Sanchez. They should show more of Daniel's son, daughter Seer movies. What happened to the Ecuadorian kid? Dies and break his back. Oh, spoilers. The editing
we will
race
find out in season 3 of
Son of a
Cobra
bitch,
Kai.
Eric is here. I didn't realize that. Nerd Chronic, the editing race is on. Bro, you won the race. I tripped just running off of the starting line. Oh, the starting line. Such a good band.
He's
Remember that?
troubling as he goes
Tell me what you thought
along.
about when you were gone and so alone.
He's basically running, and then Nerd Chronic is Captain America, and he's like, on your left, and you're like, don't say it! Don't say it! That's
no.
you and Nerd Chronic
I'm
right now.
totally just running behind.
The Falcon.
I'm running behind Eric, and he's like running, and I'm just crouched over using him to draft me. Like, what was it? Andy and Kevin in The Office. Good Lord Bird, that's the show I'm most excited for. Is that on your radar at all? No, it's not. Good Lord Bird? Is that the actual name of the show? Never heard of it. Editing now whilst listening to you guys. Mooch!
Listen.
Davey! Yeah, your hair
Just
really is
whistle
fluffy.
while you just...
Davey, we're going to get out to, what is it, Blackpool eventually. Get the couch ready. We'll be there. Also, how do you feel about Netflix doing the same for Hannibal? Yeah, Hannibal. I know Eric
True.
from Nerd Chronic's in love with that show. We started the first episode, but it was too heavy
He
in the
started
moment.
the first episode because I don't remember it at all whatsoever.
I mean, it was cool, the stylized representation of going through the crime scenes. Like, that was cool. I want to get into it. I heard amazing things about it. I just have not gone through the first episode all the way yet. The Following was a really good one that I got hooked from the get-go. Hannibal didn't do it right away.
We actually didn't even finish The Following.
That's
though.
because season 1 and 2 are just... Season 1 is amazing.
Season 1 is so good.
Amazing. It could stand alone as its own just mini
It'd be
series.
like, yeah.
Control my comments. I can't see other people's comments. Sorry, that's YouTube being YouTube. It's terrible. 2010 Karate Kid, Jaden Smith. We're getting to the point, guys, where there's a lot of comments now, and it's taking forever to read them.
Okay, we'll get to it later.
No, we got to keep going. Just
Okay.
the
And my
Pirates of the
friend says
Caribbean
the first episode of
I'm thinking Hannibal so far. Did you what we do in the shadows? Finally, I love it, Eric. Get those super chats in. We'll see your comment 100%, and of course the Streamlabs. But yeah, we just turned into the Micro Machines guy. Remember the Micro Machines guy doing the fast commercials, and he was in one episode of Saved by the Bell. So Margot Robbie is going to more than likely be taking on the mantle of lead pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean, but as a standalone on its own type story. They're still supposed to be doing the reboot that is continuing forward, which I'm hoping will have Karen Gillan as Red. That needs to happen, or she'll end up being in Margot Robbie's. Why not? I don't.
They could bring
care
them
which one.
together.
Why not? Why can't you have these characters?
Have like some badass women, be
like in
pirates,
like Avengers Endgame, where they're all
like,
pirates swashbuckling together.
On Twitter, I saw Sabina. She posted about how like they could bring Zoe Saldana's character back. They could bring Keira Knightley back, and then they could, and then of course Margot Robbie, and then Karen Gillan. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for it, but at the same time, again, it doesn't all have to be girls. You can mix it up with multiple characters.
True.
And I think there is absolutely a place for Captain Jack. Captain Jack does not need to be at the forefront. Tony Stark took a step back when it came to being involved in the Marvel movies. Granted, yes, he came up very prominent when it was time for Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. That makes sense. But when it came to Spider-Man Homecoming, I mean, he was there, but he wasn't at the forefront. He wasn't the main character. Captain Jack absolutely does not need to be a main character. I think he would flourish not being a main character and just coming in and, you know, adding a little bit of help here, a little bit of help there, a little bit of knowledge when it comes to his experiences in this pirating world of Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And they could totally do that and make a universe if they wanted to. It's the problem of them jumping to the universe first before they actually develop the characters. And that's the thing about the later Pirates movies, is that they did come up with Zoe Saldana. They did have some good characters that could come out of it. Chow Yun-fat was even in there. But the thing is they were just kind of there for that movie, and then they just tossed them aside. Versus let's flourish them, let's grow them, let's create characters and actually invest in them. And I feel like if they did invest in those types of characters, give them a little bit more to do, and bring in Red, that would be amazing. And plus, Karen Gillan is already the freaking dominant one in the world of Disney right now, because she's in, you know, so many of the Marvel movies as well. So
she did so good. She was a standout for me in that.
Killing it right now too in Jumanji.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
people know her. People know her face.
For Pirates, I would love to have them go a little bit more into like that pirate council that they had in I
think it was 3.
Dead Men's. No, that was the 5th one. They all run together for me. At World's End. There we go.
See that? That's why we were on a Schmodown trivia team for so long.
Yeah.
We get there eventually. At World's End. But you do have an opportunity to where if you bring in Margot Robbie, guess what? Margot Robbie, she kills it with the kids. The kids love her. And that's why I think it was a big misstep for them to go rated R on the Birds of Prey movie, because it was unnecessary. It was just kind of flagrant when it came to the vulgarity and the violence. It didn't really feel like it fit in the story, where they could have gotten away with it the other way. But that's Birds of Prey. And I feel like the kids that did love it, and the adults, and when we're getting that Suicide Squad eventually, the longer cut, the extended cut, I feel like we are going to, or they could have done more in terms of success with Margot Robbie and her appeal to the kids. You bring in Margot Robbie to Pirates of the Caribbean, and I say kids, I'm talking like 10, 11, 12, people that are actually paying attention, but they're growing into teenagers. I think that throwing her as a face character in Pirates of the Caribbean, and so many people know her as Harley Quinn, you do that, you got Amelia Pond and Nebula coming in, it would work wonders for Disney and the pocketbook, as well as the critics, because, you know, we'd go watch these movies and wouldn't treat Pirates of the Caribbean like the Transformers movies, when they just keep cranking them out and not really changing it for the better, with the exception of Bumblebee. And it's cool because Bumblebee screenwriter and, of course, the Birds of Prey screenwriter, Christina Hodson, is supposed to be joining up as well with Margot Robbie for Birds of Prey. So you are going to get a little bit of that familiarity when it comes to these girls that have worked together already for Birds of Prey. But I think that Margot Robbie would kill it as a pirate, too.
Arr.
That's her contribution. Good night, guys. That's it. We got Vanessa's R. I always did that stupid rated R. It didn't need to be rated R. But Pirates of the Caribbean.
The letter C is their favorite letter.
Yeah, that, because they love the sea. The pirates' first love is the sea. And then, of course, the rum.
I'm trying to be as awkward as possible.
You're doing a damn good job, girl. You're killing it. But let's head back to the comment section.
So many comments.
In the Shadows family. Looking forward to The Boys Season 2. You know, we haven't even watched Season 1 of The Boys yet. It's just one of those things, man. We're barely going through Watchmen right now, too. Didn't do reactions for it, though, because they're really long.
So that Carnival Row TV show on Amazon, it didn't really catch my attention at all. Like, they had, like, that big thing at San Diego Comic-Con. Activation. Like, we didn't even do it. Like, we were at the Amazon thing. We did The Boys. And we did Expanse, but we just didn't go and do Carnival Row either. They bring Gina Davis's from Cutthroat.
Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat Island.
Yeah, it was that Matthew Modine and Gina Davis. I remember renting that game. The game was just as bad as the movie, but I don't even remember the movie, so maybe I need to revisit. But yeah, I'm down for some swashbuckling, some Errol Flynn level of fun when it comes to a pirate movie, and I just felt like we haven't been getting that. But that's not true. We did get it in Pirates, and there were some certain things, people running on the big things and all that. And
to be fair,
wheels
though,
and
I think for me personally, the reason why I like the first Pirates as well, I mean, I like the story, but the music for the first Pirates movie is just so good. And
there's no reason why you can't keep that kind of music going in the next ones. It could, it doesn't have to be Hans Zimmer doing it, but you can have there's so many great musicians coming up, composers coming up right now. Just look at Ludwig Göransson. Yes, that would be coolest. It would bury the hatchet in my Disney boycott if Margot Robbie does a pirate movie. Makes sense. Standalone of any original characters, film might be Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. Yeah, hopefully they'll learn from other studios' mistakes, There is a very big possibility that they push a little too hard in one direction and it ends up becoming, not what it should be to win over the audiences. So
I think Disney wants to move on from Johnny Depp. I get it. I mean, he's been there for a while. Like, I'm fine with him not being in the movies. Like, we already got him, It's time to move on and do something new.
I think Disney's not going to move on from Johnny Depp, is they got him plastered all over their damn rides across multiple countries. So
yeah, but they could always change.
They could, but it also, if you just have him pop up here or there, he could pop up here or there. Red is a character already within Pirates of the Caribbean, so you can have Red in there. Barbossa, you swap out Barbossa maybe with somebody. You change the Davy Jones thing in the beginning. I know for a while it was Ian McShane, where he was doing the Blackbeard thing. So there's certain things that you could change, but I think that the Johnny Depp aspect, it could still be there, especially because he's kind of getting a resurgence in terms of knowing he's kind of maybe possibly not beating Amber Heard, because she's come out and a lot of things have dropped saying that she's just not a very good person. So I feel like there is some redemption for Johnny Depp's character when it comes to Pirates. But again, if he's not there, I get it. But you are going to piss off a lot of people that were true. But again, it doesn't seem like anyone cares about pissing off their fan base nowadays.
The last couple of movies haven't, they've had Johnny Depp as Captain Jack, and they just really didn't do very well. So I feel like
he doesn't need to be the main character.
True, but he technically wasn't really the main character in the last one either.
No, I mean
they tried to do it with other people, but
he was one of the three. I'm talking. He needs to be more of a sub character than the third billing or top billing.
He'll just come up and he'd be like, "Were you in 21 Jump Street? Oh, we were in 21 Jump Street too." Because he's in the...
We just watched 21 Jump Street again last night. Holy crap, that movie is so good. Johnny Depp's whole scene. You were in Jump Street, we were in... Bah, bah, bah. Holy crap, it's so well done. And yeah, I don't think Johnny Depp should be the Joker because of the name, honestly. I do feel like you throw Johnny Depp in there, and there is a possibility he could pull it off. But unfortunately, we've gotten so much of Johnny Depp.
I feel like because Johnny Depp is a big name and Joker is a big name,
right?
That you kind of have to leave Joker as the big name, but get somebody that we don't really have a history with.
Right. Like Joaquin Phoenix was a great choice, but he could have also gone for Doctor Strange. He was one of those actors where it's people do know his name. He is kind of at a respected level in terms of the craft, but he is kind of noticeable in the movies, that aren't just P.T. Anderson films. So it's why not do Joaquin Phoenix? Makes sense. Johnny Depp, man, everyone knows Johnny Depp, so I get it, but it's kind of like casting George Clooney as Batman, where it's you think it makes sense because he's such a big name and people know who he is.
Well,
but
I feel like at
put
the
him
time
in there,
he wasn't really a big name, except for being on ER, but...
He was sexiest man alive back then on People's Magazine. Yeah,
I was too young.
Clooney was very popular back then. If I recall, I could be.
I prefer Val Kilmer.
I could be remembering it wrong.
George Clooney.
Rest in peace, Joel Schumacher
George
too.
Clooney.
I mean, Joel Schumacher just passed. Falling Down, one of my favorites growing up. Michael Douglas, such a damn good job of basically going postal, but. Yeah, when it comes down to the Batman movies, I do really enjoy Batman Forever as well, Val Kilmer. But yeah, Batman and Robin is just a spoof. So if you're going to watch it to laugh at it, Batman and Robin is a good way to go. Hi friends, the movie couple is here. Stopping by to show some love. We appreciate the love. We were watching yours right up into us doing ours. Will it be rated PG-13 or rated R? There we go, Garth. Movie couple, Vanessa's real?
Really?
What? Oh, really? I wish Disney would do better with pirates as they did the worst with the 3 last Star Wars movies. Okay, and I don't necessarily disagree. I don't agree and I don't disagree. I agree that they were not handled properly in terms of the intricacies of the story narrative, and it wasn't planned out to where we can make it a nice, cohesive story.
They wasted the characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, you just wasted a lot of time and
sad.
potential.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there were things about it that I really did enjoy. Visuals from the get-go. I love Poe Dameron. I love Rey. I love Finn. I just wish there were... I love freaking Kylo Ren. I love that kid that does all the damn voices that's popping right now on Twitter. I wish I would have downloaded that video because he does a damn good job with it. We watched Dusk Till Dawn, so good. I watched like first couple episodes of the show. I understand why
Clooney was considered attractive at one point.
Yeah, be cool. I cannot hate Batman and Robin because Arnold was so funny. It's true. He was incredibly hilarious. It's okay out here in Saskatchewan.
As I pulled the plug on Lady Freeze.
As I told Lady Freeze before I pulled her plug, this is a one-woman show. Yeah, it's quotable. It's very quotable. I do remember a lot about it, but at the same time, I don't want to remember a lot about it. So, moving on to our final topic, and this is a big one. Michael Keaton is in talks to reprise his role as...
Speaking of Batman, hey.
Batman. Yeah, I planned it that way. Batman. No, I had no clue. It just happens. Batman. So getting Michael Keaton possibly back as Batman in the next or first Flash film. Basically doing it with the Flashpoint paradox.
I would prefer... I mean, it would be awesome to see him come as Batman, but I hope that he's Thomas Wayne's Batman.
No, and I am glad you went that way with the conversation. Kind of sad you went a little early so I could keep this picture up for a moment. But yeah, I think it did say that Michael Keaton would be coming back as Batman. I did have some friends who were like, oh, it would be great if he was Thomas Wayne's Batman. But that's if we're going for like, oh, he's going to play another character in the world of the DCEU.
Yeah, but that's how the Flashpoint goes.
Flashpoint goes Thomas Wayne.
That's what I'm saying.
Flashpoint doesn't need to mean that a guy who's Batman has to be Thomas Wayne. Like, I don't think Michael Keaton should be Thomas Wayne's Batman.
Elaborate.
I'm about to. I think that Michael Keaton should be Bruce Wayne's Batman, and it should be a Batman that's kind of like connecting all the pieces together. This is what's happening with the multiverse, with the different Earths, and I think he should be popping up in other people's. He's
from a different Earth?
He's from the Gotham Earth that we know in Batman 89. So I think that Bruce Wayne, who would very much be the Bruce Wayne that we all know and love in his world, killed his Joker, or he killed himself. He did the jigsaw way of killing the Joker, where it's like, I don't have to save you. Well, I guess
Christian Bale did that too.
It's Batman's thing, yeah. Unless you're Ben Affleck and you're just blasting people away and killing everybody.
It's like,
Michael Keaton did that too, where he went and shot up everybody with the bat plane when he was trying to get to the Joker. You gruesome son of a bitch, come on. But I think that if you are going to do a Flashpoint paradox, he doesn't have to be in it a whole lot either. He could be in it a little, but not to the point where it's just on a newspaper, like in the multiple Earths thing that they did on DC or WB, which I did not watch. But I think that if you are going to utilize the Flashpoint paradox of Thomas Wayne, you absolutely should go to where we were, and that's bringing in Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne.
I can totally see that.
You're still connecting it to where we are and could possibly be successful once again when it comes to the Zack Snyder version of the Justice League, the Snyder Cut.
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman was
Ultimate Edition.
Good if you watch the Ultimate Edition. So you're still containing all that goodness that came from those movies, and we are going to get more long form to flush out the narrative when it comes to Zack Snyder's version, or at least his vision. So why not? Would there be a Thomas Wayne? Why can't it be Jeffrey Dean Morgan? He's amazing when it comes to his portrayal of the comedian in Watchmen, and of course as Negan in The Walking Dead. I mean, after he reached his peak, we jumped out because we're like, oh, that's peak Morgan. That's peak Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We're out. And we just kind of moved on.
And he's a hunter in Supernatural.
Of course. Well, I mean, wasn't he the dad?
Winchester.
Wasn't he the dad in episode 1? I've only seen the beginning of episode 1. No, he's in a couple episodes,
but he is a Winchester.
Yeah, I'm sure he is a Winchester. Winchester, Fieldville, Iowa. What movie is that from? The first person to say it in the comment gets a shout out. But when it comes to Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Thomas Wayne in that Flashpoint paradox, I think it would be great. It would be connected to Batman. And of course, you would have Bruce Wayne also being around, but that's not Bruce Wayne's daddy. You know, that's not his Thomas Wayne. So, or maybe, I mean, it didn't look like him, at least in '89 Batman. Ever Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight? It's just something I say to all my prey. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I should have put that on here. I did it. Missed opportunity. Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, 100%, I think, would be the best way to utilize Thomas Wayne, if we're going to do Thomas Wayne as Batman, which 100% we should, being that that's how it goes in the story. But yeah, I would really be looking forward to seeing some sort of multiverse when it comes to the multiple Earths, or, I mean, the dark multiverse. I mean, so many ways that they could go with it. Again, though, they need to take the baby steps. They need to focus more so on the story that we're in right now and build on top of that, and eventually start branching out with the multiverse. So
not around these parts.
Yeah, it's not what they're going to do at WB. They're definitely going to throw caution to the wind and just say, let's go. It's like Spider-Man, you know. They could utilize their multiverse, and they're slowly starting to.
Tickled my throat when I did that.
Well, good thing I got a little bit of that butterbeer water.
Yeah.
What is it? Gilly juice? The water that they sell at the Wizarding World. It's like three. Well, gillyweed is the stuff you take, but they've got water bottles, and I think it's gilly juice or something. But either way, that water does look delicious. But
go more pumpkin juice.
I mean, yeah, at a cinematic level, I think things are just going to pop off a little bit nicer when it comes to just the quality, the cinematic quality. The fact that they've pushed it so far and so long for the Flash to get his own film. I think that they could absolutely, you know, figure all the pathways out and which way they're going to go from where they were planning to where they are not now. So many revisions, and I just hope they kind of learned from each other and built on that, because I know, I mean, we got Bumblebee, and Bumblebee was critically loved. People, or at least when it comes to our friends that are critics, everyone overwhelmingly loved it. I loved Bumblebee compared to all the other Transformers movies. So and they put a writer's room to try and get together to come up with a movie that would end up working in the universe. And I think it did. I don't know what the hell's going on now and what their plan is, but again, right now everybody's kind of put everything on the back burner in terms of creating their big blockbuster epics, with the exception of the Fast and Furious, which has one in the can and they're ready to release it, but they won't be doing that until next year. So yeah, Batman. I mean, it's interesting to see. I'm happy for Michael Keaton. There was even a thing that came up that said it's possible that Michelle Pfeiffer could also be returning as Catwoman, which, if she exists in the world, which she clearly does, because Selena Kyle gets away at the end of Batman Returns, spoilers, and she still exists in the world.
Well, thanks for spoiling the movie for me. I've never seen it.
Yeah, well, if you've never seen Batman or Batman Returns, you're in the wrong stream.
That's very true.
But I would think that, you know, not too much too quick is basically the mantra that they need to keep saying to themselves over and over, because they are seeing what happened with Disney when you kind of do too much real quick off the bat, and then you take your time, like something like The Mandalorian, or you get a bunch of creative heads together. I mean, look at the group that has kind of come together to create The Mandalorian, and what they're able to achieve in terms of narrative, visually, and just the talent that they're bringing in. And I feel like if WB wants to do that, Sony is kind of finally starting to learn that, or they'll just give it all to Lord and Miller and say, you guys do you guys will make it good, which again, 21 Jump Street, Lord and Miller, such a good job, such a good movie, all around. So that's that for the categories, stories.
So we will be doing a little bit of scrambling through the comments, and if you have any questions in there, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we'll talk about it here for a little bit. So we've got Double A said, "Hey there, are you guys Team Cobra Kai or Team Miyagi-Do?"
Miyagi-Do.
You tell me.
Yeah, you tell me. For me, I do like the way that they're telling the story of Cobra Kai and like Johnny's perspective. That's what I loved about the first season, when you're doing this perspective of Johnny and everything. But I'm a little bit more Miyagi-Do. Miyagi-Do, correct. And it's funny because you actually have like a full-on cosplay set up for Cobra Kai.
I do. I have the costume for Cobra Kai.
But when it comes down to Miyagi-Do, I mean, it's it's Daniel.
I got another one over there.
And I get why a lot of people like Cobra Kai, because they're the no nonsense type, shoot first, ask question later, renegades type deal. And you've got William Zabka. I like Cobra Kai under William Zabka, under Johnny. But when it comes to the Cobra Kai under Kreese, like, I don't like that Cobra Kai, because I mean it's definitely a much darker, no mercy type mentality. And that's one thing about Cobra Kai, is that with Cobra Kai it kind of shuffles between just different points of view, but not being able to see the others. So you just have misunderstandings that fuel the hatred between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. But if they were to kind of break that down and see it, like, they would work together very well. And when it comes to Daniel and Johnny, there's an episode in season 1 where they're together for an episode, and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite episodes. But again, misunderstanding gets them to rip apart again. Right. So when it comes to Cobra Kai, like, I love that Cobra Kai, the one that's just misunderstanding the situation. What I don't like about Miyagi's is, when it comes to Daniel misunderstanding a situation. So I don't like them at their worst, but at their best, I love both of them. But right now in the story, I'm all about Miyagi-Do, because Miyagi-Do kicked major ass.
They did good
in season 2. Yeah. Compared to season 1.
Yeah, I'm Team Miyagi-Do as well. Let's see.
Miyagi-Do karate.
Matt G says, "Do you think him being the Vulture and Birdman help him possibly take this role?"
I think being Batman.
helped him take this role.
I think the fact that Michael Keaton does want to stay relevant in terms of being an actor. He is well known amongst, the nostalgia nerds like ourselves for 80s and 90s. So Michael Keaton ain't going anywhere. He's always there. But that doesn't pay his bills, So putting him in things like Spider-Man Homecoming as the Vulture, putting him in Birdman, which got him his Oscar nomination. There's that video, poor Michael Keaton, where he's like pulling out his acceptance speech and then he kind of puts it back. Like, you feel so bad for him, because like, he deserves it. I mean, the man has killed it. He's very, very charismatic, energetic when it comes to his roles. And I mean, look at Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is so amazing.
So iconic too.
And he's not going anywhere in terms of like up here, but once we're gone, who cares about Beetlejuice down the road unless people are telling him it's amazing.
The one thing that I love about Michael Keaton is that he can, do a variety of characters. I mean, look at Multiplicity. Like, that right there. I love that movie for the simple fact that he's playing all of these different characters, and you could see like all these different characters. They're just not Michael Keaton, Hey,
Steve, great party. Got a wallet. I drive a car. And Michael Keaton, I think, he needs the work, but I think it's work that would actually be fulfilling for him. So he could have come back and played Batman for the 3rd movie, and from what I recall, he didn't want to come back and play Batman for the 3rd movie, and it ended up going and shifted over to Val Kilmer. If I could be again remembering it wrong, But either way, it's at a point where it's perfect. It's perfect timing for him to come back. I just hope it's not wasted. Like, oh, Han Solo's back 30 minutes later. Han Solo's gone. So I'm really hoping that they're capable of utilizing him properly, especially if they said that they're going to use him in multiple movies of the multiverse to kind of get their bearings. He's kind of jumping around, giving all the people a reason to come together to fight whatever the reason is that they're coming together. Maybe this is dragging, like we're all realizing that, Darkseid, yeah, is back, a Snyder Cut, but we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg for Darkseid. So, we aren't even going to get to that final battle for quite some time. Yeah. Hopefully, 10 years, maybe more. So I feel like you could utilize this ramp up. And could you imagine at the end of that final battle when it's Michael Keaton's Batman running alongside the Batman that's Jeffrey Dean Morgan running alongside, if they wanted to bring in Kilmer and all that. Not Kilmer, but
scene where he's like
the other Batman.
No, like
Antonio Banderas. Yeah, Antonio Banderas with the computer. Ooh. How badass would that final battle be? And yeah, you can do it a little differently because Avengers Endgame, you just don't want to copy them. And it's not copying them. They just happen to do it first. But you will get something equivalent where you've got all these heroes in this all-out battle. Then you've got you've got Ben Affleck there as Batman. Like, everybody battling it out in this final battle against Darkseid, and I feel like we're barely starting to get there. They all come out
in different ways that they say that they're Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
And it's just Michael Keaton looking in the mirror. I'm Batman. Where he's just trying to tell Vicky Vale, but he's practicing first. That's it. Batman. Just him doing that over and over again. But yeah, we're barely starting to get into the beginning stages. It just took them a really long time to figure out where they needed to start and when they needed to start versus jumping the gun like they did. James Gunn, Suicide Squad coming soon. Hey there, you guys you did that one already. Who are you? I'm Batman.
You already did that. You already did me. That's what she
said. Damn it. Hold on. I gotta do it. Where is it? I should put these in alphabetical order.
Yeah. Okay. It's down there. You missed it. There it is.
That's what she said?
There we go.
Yeah, but let's see. Batman, Bruce Wayne, best thing to happen. Wondering if they're planning a Batman Beyond because Keaton. Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to talk about that. Ring King 1978. 100%. Once this is like all done with whatever they're planning to do with the connective tissue, absolutely, I would very much be down for a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton playing the older version of Bruce.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt coming.
Damn, could you imagine that though? If it is different universes, why wouldn't Robin, be Terry? Like, why couldn't you have the same character? Granted, it doesn't have to be Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I just think he deserves some sort of continuance when it comes to his character. I do think the whole Robin aspect was very much on the nose. What was it?
Should be John Blake? By that name. Yeah.
Howard Blake? John Blake. But yeah, he should have definitely just been like Dick Grayson or something. I wonder if they're planning a Batman Beyond because Keaton, we did that already. That. I go back to where I was to help me know where to be.
Not sure if Flash movie will be a $1 billion movie at box office.
Yeah, very possible it won't be. They're kind of not there yet. They got to work their way back up to the $1 billion an episode outings to battle Thomas Wayne, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is out of control. Flash brings in Bruce Wayne, Batman, Keaton. That'd be sick. I like pizza. I like it. Yeah, Tim Franco. We gotta get Tim Franco on this show. Get Kilmer back in the bat suit. He already was. If you guys ever saw Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis and Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Clooney? I love George Clooney. I already said that.
Oh man, it's such a good freaking show. Watch Life's Too Short. Warwick Davis, Val Kilmer comes back. They're making a Willow 2.
They're trying to make a Willow 2.
Matt Mardigan, Val Kilmer putting on the cowl, just standing there. It's so funny.
She's like, "Do you know what this is?" She's like, "Christian Bale,
George Clooney,
Michael Keaton, George Clooney. I love George Clooney." She's going through all of them except for Val Kilmer.
Keaton was only good Batman.
I'm trying to look good for Val. See, every time I think of Val Kilmer, I think of The Office too, when Daryl is at the gym with Dwight. And he's like, what do you want to do this for? Why are you doing this? And he's like, because I want to look good for Val. And he's like, Val Kilmer?
We're gonna make you. What is he? We're gonna make you so hot for Val Kilmer. What about Martha's situation? Yeah, the Martha situation. I mean, what's the Martha situation other than the Martha? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's I for one did not even realize or think about the fact that both their moms were named Martha.
I know.
Until that movie, I was like, oh shit.
Because it's
both their moms are named Martha. I never even put that together.
You kind of focus on one and then you focus on the other, but when you bring them both, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean Martha Kent and Martha Wayne. I just never put two together.
They're probably like, I wonder what we should name their mothers. We'll just name them Martha.
Right. Which actors these days could pull off a Shining remake lead role? I mean, we kind of already tried that, didn't we? When it comes to Dr. Sleep, and they tried it with. Granted, it's not like a remake in terms of reimagining, revision. We already got that though. We got the one with the made-for-TV movie, which was pretty good.
Which, like I said, that is the first like interaction with The Shining, with the story of The Shining, was that limited series that they had, and every time it was on TV, I would always watch it because I absolutely loved it. Then I read the book. Then then I watched the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining. So that's how it went.
Backwards again. Yeah. Late to the party is Vanessa.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman. I really enjoyed Batman versus Superman as well. If you go back to our review, we put it to tape so you can actually see what we thought. And I really enjoyed Batman.
I didn't like it as much. I liked it more with the Ultimate Edition because it does explain a little bit more of the story.
Right.
But even then, it does it very minimal, so it's like, there are tons of things. There are certain things. There are certain things in that movie that I really enjoy, like the whole scene with Batman going and saving Martha. Like that whole scene was freaking badass. Like that's Batman. Like I'm just waiting to play the control on my computer, like to play the game. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Why do a combo? Like it was so great.
It definitely does have those moments that are pure Batman, pure DC. It felt like one of the big selling points for me when it comes to BVS was I was okay with Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I really enjoyed it. Even like when we were watching the Ultimate Edition, you know, she's like, why would he do that? That's so weird. Like when he's putting the candy in the mouth.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's so
I don't know what it was, man, about the mannerisms. I loved the mannerisms that Jesse Eisenberg utilized for Lex Luthor. So I was in it. Like if that's something that you were having trouble getting over and pulling in is like, this is what it is. Like for me, I don't know. I loved it. Like I really enjoyed his Lex Luthor.
Mother of God, look at the time.
Mother of God, look at the time. Yeah, and how he speaks in like puns and riddles. He would have been a better Riddler, my opinion, versus Lex Luthor.
I could see that.
But at the same time, I feel like Jesse Eisenberg's Luthor was a breath of fresh air. I didn't really care for Lex Luthor as a character. I never saw Lex Luthor as Lex Luthor in the old Superman movies because I saw Gene Hackman. So I saw Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. I didn't see the character. I saw Gene Hackman battling Superman, and it was amazing.
But just donning the character,
correct,
Lex Luthor. I get it.
And he had hair a lot of the time too.
See, for me too, when we were watching the Superman movies, like I just didn't really care for his rendition of Lex Luthor. But like I said, I watched Smallville. Smallville was the one that I would watch the most. So that's the Lex Luthor that I know.
Who's that?
Matt. No.
What the hell's his name? You guys have to tell us. Is it Rappaport?
No, it's not.
Am I thinking of freaking, what's his name?
Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum, that's right. Rappaport, completely different. I was almost going to drop some quotes, too, from next Friday, but I'm not going to do that. Not here. But let's see. Don't you mean the Shinning? Want to get sued? Dude, Simpsons. Yeah, I was just having a conversation with friends about Simpsons. Classic Simpsons, so amazing. I would love to go back and watch that stuff. Newer Simpsons, I can't do it. I can't make it through 5 minutes of an episode.
Would you say Stranger Things is American equivalent to Doctor Who?
No.
I think they're separate. I love Doctor Who. I love Doctor Strange. You know what? You can put them together. I love Doctor Who. I love Stranger Things. But I don't think it's the equivalent to that.
Yeah, Doctor Who is I mean, it's time travel-y, it's wondrous, it's, out of this world, where we're very...
Fantastic.
Yeah, with Stranger Things, I feel like we're very centered on one location. We're very centered on another dimension and a beast coming through that dimension. I never feel like it's out there. I always feel like it's coming down here. Now, could the story of what is happening with the Upside Down and the monster coming through, the Mind Flayer, be a Doctor Who story? 100%. I could see that being a thing where the Doctor shows up and helps them rid themselves of this guy, and then he moves on somewhere else. But where I feel Doctor Who incorporates all, you've got this, which is very, very narrow in terms of storytelling. Yeah,
story.
And that's what I love about it. It's very Goonies. It's very E.T. It's very those. It's very Super 8, but good. Because, I like Super 8 back when I watched it, but eventually I tried watching it again, and there's things about it that it just takes too much time to get going on anything. And when you finally get there, it's like, that was kind of anticlimactic. Now I'm starting to see a trend when it comes to J.J. Abrams. But let's see. Mr. J.J. Abrams, pour me a glass of Solomon's drink. Tyrone
Jeremy
Magnus.
Irons was a great Alfred.
100%. So good as
like
Alfred.
him as Alfred. I do also liked what's his name as Alfred too. That was on Gotham, the show. I really liked his portrayal.
Sean Pertwee.
Yeah, I really liked his rendition of Alfred in that show.
Speaking
too.
of Doctor Who, John Pertwee's son.
Yeah, Sean Pertwee.
He
did so good. I think he did really good as Alfred.
They should bring him in as freaking the third Doctor as well. That would be so awesome on Doctor Who with Sean Pertwee. I know he doesn't want to do it though because it's his dad's.
Right.
But that picture that he did donning the outfit was so amazing. I disagree with you respectfully about Jesse Eisenberg. Gene Hackman is the ultimate Luthor. I get it. Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor, but when I see Lex Luthor, it's the character from the animated series. Like, to me, it's the character from the comics. Like, that's Lex Luthor. When I saw Gene Hackman, it's like, it's Gene Hackman. He's Gene Hackman. He's a different level of Lex Luthor, whereas like all the other Lex Luthors were just, these bald villains to me. They never really had an identity. So seeing Jesse Eisenberg as this character, basically he's just the Facebook douche, and he's, very intelligent. What was I saying about how that Lex Luthor, I mean, he's so intelligent and he so wants to be on the playing field with all the legends and the heroes and the gods, but he's not, and he can't be. And granted, this is Lex Luthor's character, but in terms of what I saw from him, just wanting to, be all powerful. What was it that he said? I can't remember the quote where he's like, you can be good, but not all powerful, all powerful and not good.
Yeah, like you say, if he's all good, then he can't be all powerful. Right. But if he's all powerful, then he can't be all good.
And I loved it. Like I got it. Like for me, when he said all that, I was like, I like you because Kevin Spacey felt like the generic Lex Luthor when he came in for Superman Returns. When it comes to Jesse Eisenberg, it felt something different for a character that I've always seen as dull. And for me, like Wilson Fisk too. Wilson Fisk was one where I just kind of didn't see him as like a character until Daredevil, until Vincent D'Onofrio brought him to the forefront. I'm like, damn, dude, this is a badass character. So, I mean, it takes a certain, style to appeal to you. And for me, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor did appeal to me. Don't get me wrong. If I'm comparing Lex Luthors, it's always Gene Hackman at the top for best. I love Superman. I love Superman 2 more than every Superman movie that exists. So when it comes to Lex Luthor, it's Gene Hackman across the board.
All right, we got, would you guys have liked Bryan Cranston as Lex? I don't think so, no. Not for me personally, because the way that it would be too much for me. I would think of it as Heisenberg.
Yep.
So he does such a great job as Heisenberg that if he became Lex, it would feel like he's just a richer version of Heisenberg. Yeah. I mean, granted, he does make money as Heisenberg, but like, more powerful, yeah. I guess. I don't know. It's just because of the whole Heisenberg thing. It just it wouldn't work for me.
It is too similar. When I first heard it, and I was like, oh, Bryan Cranston? Yeah, absolutely. Because he's bald. Like, granted, I absolutely know chops wise, Bryan Cranston could do the
could,
job.
yeah.
But the fact that it's already a bald character in Breaking Bad, it's just too similar. It's too close. Where it, to me, it feels like typecasting. Now you're just shifting him over, altering a couple attributes of his character, and then you've got Lex Luthor. To me, it wouldn't have felt like enough of a change for me to be okay with it. But had it happened before Heisenberg and he came out like that, and holy shit, blew me away. I 100% would loved to see him as Lex Luthor.
Double A says, when you think of the Doctor, which version comes to mind for you? For me, it's 11, even though he's not my favorite. When I think of the Doctor, I do think of my favorite Doctor, which is David Tennant, the 10th Doctor.
You know what's funny? I always jump around when it comes to... Yeah, I always jump around when it comes to the Doctors. So, yeah, for me, it's Tom Baker.
I get it.
Like, when I see the Doctor in my head, it's always 4. Yeah. It's always him. It's always the scarf. It's always the hat. But for me, my favorite Doctor is David Tennant. And I could see how the David Tennant Doctor did kind of evolved more into, you know, who I think the Doctor is as Matt Smith. But in terms of who I picture first in my brain when I think of the Doctor, it's always Tom Baker as number 4.
I get it.
Prefer his Ohio character to Luthor. Yeah, I mean, Jesse Eisenberg definitely has a very good presence when it comes to his characters, especially in Zombieland. He does such a good job in that movie.
All-powerful genie. That's the line.
All-powerful genie. That's the line. What line? I missed it. Okay, I gotta go. Parent now. Awesome streams. Thanks, Rugged English. Have a good one. Which Superman actor do you like? I think Christopher Reeves is the best, as he was the Superman I grew up watching. Yeah, man. He's Superman.
All right, so a little about me. It was like 1 or 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I don't really remember. But it was recent that I watched the Superman movies for the first time. I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago. Anyways, I do think that Christopher Reeves does an amazing job as Superman. I think that he does an amazing job as Clark Kent as well. But for me, as like if I were to have to pick someone, the first like iteration of Clark Kent / Superman that I ever had as a live action version would be Tom Welling's in Smallville, because I loved that show when it first aired. So I do like him as Clark Kent too.
Christopher Reeve.
But Christopher Reeves is Superman, and he is Clark Kent. Like, he is the epitome of Superman right there.
I gotta say though, when Brandon Routh showed up as Superman in Superman Returns, I was so happy. Like, there were things, the mannerisms, how he held himself, his facial features, everything about it felt like, yeah, dude, you can carry on the mantle. I'm okay with this. But he was very similar to Christopher Reeve, just in terms of, you know, feeling. It felt like Christopher Reeve. You knew it wasn't, but Brandon Routh, I was so happy to have him, and I'm so glad that he's gotten payoffs in other ways. To make him relevant, at least still to this day, because Brandon Routh definitely deserved it instead of a one and done and cast aside. So Henry Cavill as well, and crazy talented when it comes to what he's able to pull off just in terms of character. Seen it in The Witcher. You saw it in Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I absolutely loved. And of course Superman. But for me, man, it's that feeling, and that feeling of Superman is always Christopher Reeve. So Lex Luthor, big culture, and so Machiavellic. I see Tom Baker too. Jelly Baby, anyone? Did Danny DeVito Penguin creep you out as a kid? Only because it didn't, because everybody was talking about how, like, oh, it's excessive, and he's got the black stuff coming out of his mouth and all that. So I was already ready for it, even though I knew of, like, I had watched the old Batman, so Burgess Meredith being the Penguin was already like, okay, well, I know what he's like there, and they're going for something different. I get it. It makes sense. Tim Burton, you know, I kind of accepted it before I saw it, so I didn't have a big issue with it. Then I went and got, like, the cups from McDonald's, and he was on there, and I was like, oh, there's the Penguin.
So this will probably be our last question here, since we are going over our time that we said that we would.
Sure, conversation though. You know,
Yeah,
you
true.
don't want to chop it off if you're having a good time.
Just kidding. Bye. I'm just kidding.
She knocks the camera over.
That's what she said.
I said cut it off. And, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways.
And then who's the Charmed fan? I see it on your shelf. Oh yeah, that would be me. I am the Charmed fan. I watched Charmed when it aired. I did, however, stop. I didn't watch the final season, so there's that.
Charmed, yeah. Don't ever do reactions to any episodes of Charmed, anybody, because our friend Neil had his channel completely wiped out all in one swoop, in one swift stroke.
Yeah, because he did them all, and then they took them, like, they were boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, they copyright striked them all at the same time, which destroyed his channel. So never do reactions to Charmed. All of a sudden, your channel is non-existent, like Neil. Let's see, Charmed fan 2, Timber wrote the Penguin and the Batman's character. I'm glad the Superman Returns felt like it was the vein of the Donner films. It's true, especially the music. I would like to see Henry Cavill as the next James Bond. I could see that too, but I feel like he already dipped his toe into this 2 times into the secret agent type characters. Yeah, espionage. So I feel like we can go somewhere else with that.
I was like 2 times. And then I was like, all right, Mission Impossible.
Yep. You guys should randomly play more fragmented clips that Robert cuts off. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he does have like clips.
I have lots of clips. I just don't really have any that make sense.
Like I said, agree to disagree a while back, and I guess you have one there.
Agree to disagree.
I sure do, but they got to come up naturally. And when I'm in the conversation, man, my fingers can't be doing any other talking. That's why we need a producer to get in here and push the buttons while we talk.
We've got some in the works. They're pretty good in there.
Yeah, we do have some good ones.
I like it a lot.
And I have to add more too, but
yeah.
I mean, it depends on the stories too. If you can find one. I mean, this was the opening thing with Abraham Lincoln, the Party On dudes. They're closing down the mall. In fact, it's closing in like 3 days.
The mall that was in Bill and Ted's is shutting down. Yeah. It will be no more.
Yeah, they're completely shutting down the mall. San Dimas
it's in
Mall.
Phoenix.
Up in Phoenix, Arizona, so that makes me sad. That's why I chose the Abraham Lincoln Party On dudes, because that mall is no more. But either way, guys, one swift stroke. Yeah, you got a double A. That's right. Did you enjoy Schumacher Batman movie? We talked about that. Batman Forever for me. Hello, Martin S. You're late to the party. You're at the very end. Who is your favorite character in Superbad? In Superbad, it's Bill Hader. Man, that's my favorite character in Superbad. 100% is Bill Hader. McLovin, you left us! When he's just so mad when he's yelling at him. Yeah. Totally bogus, Garrett Knott. But yep, that is it for episode 4 of Late in the Week. Thank you guys for all showing up.
For joining us, showing up as we talk nonsense about movies and
entertainment.
Trying to articulate the words that you want to say, but they come out wrong. Because I'm going to be going and crying my balls out now.
Cry your balls out.
I do that a lot.
I'm sure Garth's already working on that shirt.
So, you know, in Mean Girls, when she's like talking to the guy and then she says gruel because she meant to say cool, but then she started to say great. Like, I do that all the time. So it will eventually, other ones will come out eventually when we talk. Like,
McLovin?
No.
McNugget? McIntyre?
McDuke? Miss like
Kylie
Scrooge?
Minogue?
Scrooge McDuke?
Scrooge McDuke?
Scrooge McDuke?
Yeah, check out our, what was it, DuckTales reaction that we did to the cast sings. David
Because I meant to go say Scrooge McDuck, but then I said Scrooge McDuke
You
instead.
said like Scrooge McDuke. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for the donations through Streamlabs, through Patreon, and of course through the Super Chats. We appreciate it. It goes right back into the channel, so that way we can get more equipment and be able to have more fun. It's only going to get better from here. More guests coming your way down the pipe. If there's a lot of news dropping this week, we'll be here Friday. If not, you'll see us in 2 weeks. But either way, guys, thank you so much. You can also make sure you like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Stardust. Yes, we do have a Tumblr.
check out the Tumblr, man. We got
You never update it.
Oh,
I updated it.
She has no clue. Oh, I updated. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
Throwing out
there
an
you go.
office reference.
Office
You never
reference.
updated it. Well, I updated it. Yeah, I constantly update our Tumblr, and we get a lot of movement there for a lot of the videos that you see. GIFs, I'm making a lot of GIFs and videos. So if you're on Tenor and you use Twitter to do your little GIFs, a lot of them are starting to come from us. So thank you guys so much, and as always,
Now it's time to say goodbye.
this party is over. Have a great afternoon, evening. Love you guys. Bye. Bye.